Welcome back, guys. It's Jason with your Hopium-free crypto channel and Hopium-filled titles. Don't be fooled. We're looking at Cardano again today. Just 2 days ago was the announcement of SundaeSwap testnet coming out on Sunday, the 5th of December. My video went live on the 2nd of December, just before the news and all that sort of stuff was pumping the price. Now, there was a lot of comments around that point saying that I was wrong, you should have watched the news, and this is going to age badly. We can see this not even a day and a half later, that the price is now below the price when I made the video before the news pump. The critical thing to note here, if you want to become a long-term investor, a trader, or even just improve your skills, is to note that the news is generally BS. And I truly mean that. It really just puts a lot of noise into people's heads. And of course, there are plenty of YouTube channels and Twitter accounts which just talk about the news, solely about the news. The easiest thing with the news is that it's produced every single day. It's not worth the paper that it's written on generally. Now, of course, there are some news, there's fundamentals which are actually important and affect the markets. And this just, it depends on what sort of time frame we're looking at. Of course, fundamentals are important. Some of this news is bigger than others. Now, SundaeSwap testnet for ADA, the really important thing to note here is that's all it could do to the price was this one day, 11%. The next day, complete reversal on that. All right, so this is looking very weak in terms of the news. Now, long story short, it's not the end of the road. It's not all over. And I know there are a lot of new investors into Cardano particularly who may be scared at this point. Maybe they bought at the tops because there was a lot of good news at the tops and the price really wasn't moving too much. And now they find themselves 50% down. So the idea about the video is to keep track of, at least in my opinion, keep track of where the price is going, what's happening, what I'm seeing in the charts. Maybe you've got better technical analysis skills than I, maybe you have better fundamental analysis skills than I do, and you don't need to watch any of these videos. If that's you, by all means, you've got plenty of other resources out there. But for those who are following along and just looking at what's going on with the price and the news, this is the way that I read it and what I've found from my experience. If we get a news announcement like we did with SundaeSwap, and everyone was quite excited about it. You saw it across many big news crypto channels on YouTube. And then you see the following day, the market completely reverse. It's generally pretty weak. It's a pretty weak sign that that news didn't mean jack shit. It might do something in the future. It might come back to play. SundaeSwap works out well. The testnet goes well. There's more projects that are starting to get built or at least coming out so people can use them on Cardano. Yes, I know there's some stuff that is getting built, but it's not really usable at this point in time. And that is from the projects themselves who I've talked to. And all that stuff will come out in time. So if you're looking for a longer term investment and you've done your research and you say Cardano is my go-to, this is where I want to start stacking my ADA and wait for that pump in the future. Maybe it gets to $5, $7, $10. And then you've got passive income coming in on your ADA from the price that you bought at $1.50, then you're doing pretty well. But if you're looking at this as a trade and that one particular news event of SundaeSwap to turn the bear market in ADA around, then you're probably playing a fool's game. So this has moved up from that day all the way back down. And that's a sign to note. This isn't just for ADA and how you read the news, but this is for all cryptocurrencies, all stocks, whatever it is, whatever you're following in terms of your assets in your portfolio, and you get a news announcement and the following day it reverses and goes beneath the price. It obviously means that people aren't finding that piece of news that important. And all of the degens, the noobs that are following these news announcements may have played that, bought it up, and now it's all the way back down. Now, this is very short-term look at this. What we want to see for some bullishness for the price here for ADA is if it can hold these levels now at around this $1.40 level, because that's the low that was put in on the 28th of November. If this again breaks down, it's looking a little weaker and we'll probably come back and test some of these other levels that was put in on the ADA price back when we crashed in May, June, July. So the low here is at around $1. The previous major low in April was at around that 90 cent level. And if we use our 50% tool, So it's at the moment at this major top, and I'm going to drag this, bring it back to one of the major lows in 2020. So the crash low here, it's coming out at around that $1.60 level. So we're underneath the 50% at this point in time. And so the last line of defenses here are around that 90 cents to $1. And then hopefully it can just hold out somewhere in this range, because there was a lot of price action in the range of that $1 to $1.50 before it broke out to that high at $3.16 for the smart contracts. So it's in a bearish state. Yes, one piece of news got it moving 11%. Next day, all the way down. A note for something to learn here, this is the way I use the news. If that news was actually going to be strong, what we can find, or what we should have seen, is the price go up again the next day. So the news was out on the 2nd of December. We had to see the news we had to see the price go up on the 3rd of December. And for an extra strong market, you want to see it go up 3 days in a row. You want to see at least 3 days up from that to give you a sign that there is some strength coming into this market. So although I got ripped to shreds, as per usual, giving my Hopium-free thoughts on a Cardano video here, Cardano gets crushed. And a lot of people appreciate the Hopium freeness that goes on with the video into the comment section. But there obviously is a small percentage who are so tied to their positions, they're not going to make it. They just get extremely worked up that the price is falling and that you didn't see this one piece of news. Guys, wake up. Wake up. This is your money that's on the line. You have been saving it. You're using it to invest. You are, trying to get yourself out of whatever situation you're in, or you're trying to improve your situation and, build a retirement fund, get a deposit for a house, whatever that sort of stuff is. Don't get caught up on these ridiculous news announcement events that are just plastered everywhere. That is a pretty decent sign that it's a weak piece of news, that it fell the next day. So I've repeated myself a few times on that just to try and make the point on it. Hopefully, for the price of ADA, for it to go up, we see a low put in here and a reversal. It doesn't look likely at the moment, but the nice thing about this is we did have a crash in the Bitcoin market. We fell pretty heavily over the last several hours, so that's down about 5%. That was a comment that I even put in one of these recent videos yesterday or the day before, that Bitcoin's down a few percent, everyone loses their shit. That's what's going on at the moment. The nice news with Bitcoin is that it did come down, got some volume, and it closed just above this little low area that was put in. So the low is 53,300. The close here was 53,600. So it's still holding up. My 50% is at 49,000. Somewhere around that high 48s, 49s is still a safe correction in a 50% zone there. So that's not a problem. I want to see a turnaround, move back above. And then, of course, my level was at around $61,000 for Bitcoin for the price to get above that point to give me some more strength. So back to ADA. Again, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it here. This is what it is. It's down. The news didn't really do much. It didn't do much on these days in November. The little bounces that it saw in September. The next little bounce here in early September after that liquidity crash and the smart contracts announcement, they were released. It is what it is. This is part of investing. Got to remove those emotions, not get attached to it. Don't be moon boyish about whatever it is you're holding, and just have your plan. Have an area that you think, if this falls any further past, say, this major support here that you can see underneath all of these levels, if it falls past here convincingly and it closes and it goes down and closes again, that's probably an area to get out. It's a long way from it, but this is cryptocurrencies. You've got a lot of room to move up. You have to accept that the downside is going to have a lot of risk to it as well. If we look at ADA BTC, this was the day of the video and the Sunday swap. There it is. Next day, down. Currently, down again. And in terms of a percentage from that opening price to where we are, you're up 5% on your Bitcoin. So, you can pat yourselves on the back for that one. And the same deal for Ethereum. Ethereum, similar sort of thing. There's the news. We've got a bit of volume in this, so it's holding up a little better against the ETH price, which is good to see. So we go second at the open to where we currently are at the close as I'm filming this. 7% up, 7.7% up on your ETH from that exact video to that point. So if you're following your cryptos against their Bitcoin or ETH value, that's a good thing. If you're only following it against USD, then it's lower than that video and at the point where I was saying it's down. Doesn't matter about the news. How many times do we have to say it? How many times do we have to prove it? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But of course, there's a lot of new people and they may not have seen that, and it doesn't make sense when you first start at something to think, how can lines on a chart mean something more than news? You know, it doesn't make sense when you first start. I definitely felt and thought that when I first started trading, but now I just accept that the chart knows more than I do, and I just have to learn to read the chart better than I could read it the day before. ADA dominance, it's holding up. There's a little bit of a support here at the moment. So we got it around that 1.8 to 2% dominance of the overall cryptocurrency market. So there's a small bounce. It doesn't look solid to me. And I'm obviously playing this as a longer term play. That doesn't look like a reversal to me just yet. You know, again, 1 day up and down, down, down. Okay, so we got down and down. Sorry, just 2 days down on that one. It's a start. We haven't broken the low, so that's a good thing. So it could be the start of a small reversal, and the small reversals turn into medium-sized reversals, and they turn into large reversals, and they turn into extra large reversals. So taking the risk now, just keep a stop close to those lows. If it breaks the lows, it obviously means the support isn't there. And then it may go even further past these levels. And that applies to all these other charts. When you're just looking at the support, where is that support coming in? Here's a yellow line. Let's bring it down. It looks like it's trying to hold up at the moment above the previous highs that ADA ETH was putting in during 2019 and 2020 as some resistance. You can see it was on support, broke down, it had a bit of a bounce, and then it had a resistance here in 2020, finally broke above, and now it looks like it's coming back to rest underneath these levels. Same deal with ADA BTC. We zoom out. The 2,000 to 2,500 Satoshis is the area that I've been watching for a little while now. So there's a 2,000, the yellow line here, and then 2.5 is about there. So it's pretty much looking at this section. So if it gets into that section and I see a reversal, then that's going to be a sign for me to say, all right, maybe it's time to start loading up on ADA. But for now, I'm not interested in an 11% news bump where probably degens on news channels are buying up and losing out at the end of the day. So the positive to all of this, we have patience. That's why you're here. You want the Hopium free stuff on an asset that you are holding potentially long term. If you are trading this, it doesn't look like a trade to me at the moment. I definitely wouldn't be trading this, but as an investment. So they're two different things. You want to have a setup and you want to get in early and get out early with a trade. In investments, long term, I want to see the market turn around. And I don't look to buy the exact bottom. I want confirmation that a bottom is in. So if this drops down, and I could have bought it at 1,700 Satoshis, but I don't see a reversal, and the market comes up and then back down, then maybe I buy it at that point. Or maybe I buy it when it breaks through that top. And that could be a long way from the exact low. That's how I have my plan set up, because I don't want to be catching a falling knife. I want to do my best to enter when the market is on my side. You know, I'm going long, I'm bullish on something, so I want to be buying into it when there's momentum to the upside. I don't always get it right, but at least I save myself from trying to buy all of these lows on all of the news pumps and all the way down. So stick around, make sure you've liked, subscribe, and follow the channel with the bell notification icon on so you can get your dose of Hopium free crypto content, looking at these charts and understanding them, because they come out and you'll get more news out of a chart than you will out of the news pumps that you get out in the mainstream. All right. Thanks once again, guys. Make sure you've joined Patreon as well. There's a few remaining. The annual is almost out. There's a few left here, 28 on the 49, and just one left on that 39 there as well. Catch you guys at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.